Who's the bigger cheater? Jesse is 2 weeks out from his first ever bodybuilding competition, and Alex Eubank, he states he's going to be competing in just 13 weeks. Very exciting. Coach Greg, and in today's video, who's the bigger cheater? Jesse James West or Alex Eubank? They're gonna go into details what it's like to train natural versus enhanced, as well as their diets. And so, who is the better bodybuilder? Alex Eubanks versus Jesse James West. Who would win at their peak? Stay tuned to find out.
He's looking mad good. He's looking shredded. He's gonna make me feel fat for sure. But bro, I'm in the process of trying to get leaner. So I think I'm down 5 pounds right now.
And Alex says he's feeling kind of fat. You know, he's blown up. I mean, I've watched his videos. The guy has an incredible physique, looks like a Greek god. Said he was 170 pounds shredded. And he bulked up, ballooned up, got so fat, got up to 180. Really? And so imagine Alex thinking he's actually gotten fat. And so what is he doing? Well, he's of course crash dieting back down to 170. And remember, both Alex and Jesse are suffering from low testosterone. And we do know that when you're on low calorie diets, it can dramatically lower your testosterone levels. And so Alex quite literally posted his blood work and said, hey, it's very low, probably from crash dieting. And so he went on a bulk, put on 10 pounds. Is that enough? And after gaining those 10 pounds, did he decide to maintain? No, he's now on a crash diet yet again. And what does he do on this crash diet? Well, he eats super strict, super clean all week, and then has one massive cheat meal.
And we had pizza, we had wings, I had a burger, we had fries, we had cheesecake, we had a milkshake. I generally think I'm gonna throw up during this workout.
And so my question is this: why are we going in excessively low calorie deficits where we crush our natural production of testosterone? We feel like garbage, we're starving all the time, only to undo all of that work in one massive cheat meal. Would it not make more sense to have one of those cheats every day of the week? Perhaps eat 80% of your diet clean, 20% junk, and have balance throughout the week. And so we know that Alex Eubank has massive cheat meals on his diet, but Jesse James West, well, he wouldn't do that, right?
What are the calories at?
Bro, like fucking 1,200, 1,500.
Oh,
I feel good. I was telling him, I was like, you caught me at a good time. Like, I actually have energy right now.
Have I not taught these kids anything? Small calorie deficit. When you go into a large calorie deficit, it can crush your natural production of testosterone. And so did we not just watch a video from Jesse James West on retention? And remember in that video when he tested his testosterone levels? They're very low now, aren't they? Gee, I wonder why.
Zucchini, salt, pepper, grilled chicken.
But does Alex Eubank know that shortly after this, Jesse James West called me up and said he had a 7,000 calorie cheat meal? Not making this shit up, 7,000 calories. And so consider this, if you restrict calories for too long, the body eventually is gonna fight back. Jesse James West has more willpower than almost anyone, but even Jesse could not withstand the hunger cravings for that long. And so upon talking to him on the phone, I said, you gotta eat more. It's not about losing the weight that fast. You look incredible, you don't need to keep dieting. Just do the show, have fun, you look great. Go in a small deficit, keep doing your cardio, and you're fine. And so what a time to plug my freaking cookbook. Remember this book? Low calorie, delicious meals keep you full, prevent you from cheating on your diet. And so if Alex and Jesse James ate from the cookbook, guess what? They wouldn't have all these crazy cravings. They wouldn't want to eat 7,000 calories in a day.
Yeah, it's terrible. I'm so weak. Really? Like what I was doing 75 incline, like to start my workout. I normally do that second, and I crossed at like 90s at least. You're usually pretty strong. I was like 70s. I was like, ugh.
And so Jesse's describing how weak he's getting. This is all from crash dieting. And when you crash diet, you literally will be losing muscle tissue. And so with a slower diet, you maintain more muscle, you feel better, and it's more sustainable, and your testosterone will not crash as severely.
I dropped over 9. I dropped 9 pounds in like 12 days.
Really?
Yeah.
And so do you think Jesse lost 9 pounds of fat in 12 days, or couple pounds of fat, but a shit ton of water and or muscle tissue?
In my opinion, I feel like prepping for a long time is kind of like a waste of time. So to stay lean, get leanish, like have your cheat meals and shit, and then when you're like 10%, be like, all right, I'm going in for like 4 weeks.
Well, that sounds good, but the problem is the harder the diet, the more likely you are to lose muscle tissue, and the worse you're going to suffer. If you lose the weight very slowly, gradually, eat from the cookbook, it's so much easier, it won't even feel like a diet. And so, yeah, you can crash diet. You can lose all that weight. You can eat 1,200 calories a day, do tons of cardio, and lose weight really quick. But is that the best way? Of course not.
Yourself like get that leanness, especially now. But it's different. Like you're shredded. You're shredded right now. Yeah. It's like you don't want to leave it.
And I watched a video of Alex on Instagram posing, especially from the back. The guy absolutely shredded. Looked like he could have stepped on stage. Definitely single-digit body fat. But once you've been that lean, and he describes this well, you will always want to look like that. You remember the shreds you used to have, and when you gain a few extra pounds, you feel fat. You're not fat. Clearly, even at his most bulked up state, guy's still very lean, but he feels fat, hence the crash diet once again.
What are we doing? We're about to train a little bit.
Gonna, like battle?
Pretty much.
And let's compare lat pull downs just because. When watching Alex Eubank do the lat pull downs, I find his form a lot more strict. He pulls the bar closer to his upper chest. He seems to control the weight much more on the eccentric in compared to Jesse James. And I did train with Jesse James. He tends to allow the weight to go back rather quickly. And so if I'm being critical, if I had to compare, I would say Alex Eubank has better form on the lat pull down. Jesse James seems to cheat the weight a little bit more than Alex.
So Alex is natural, despite what everyone thinks. I know he's natural.
And so Jesse James is like, I'm natural, Alex is natural, and Alex has got a big smile on his face. It's like, is he really natural? I actually think he's natural right now in this video. Like, I do think that he's 100% natural in this video, but I still think he wasn't lifetime natural. And by that I mean, I think he took something in the past. Can't be sure, don't know, but I don't believe he's lifetime natty.
Do you think it is harder to get leaner, get bigger with being natural?
Obviously, it's way easier to get shredded and put on muscle when you're enhanced. But listen, I did 42 shows as a natural athlete, 17 enhanced, and I can tell you that every single show I did as an enhanced athlete was harder than when I was natural. Well, doesn't that contradict what you just said? Well, kinda, but here's the difference. When you're competing as a natural athlete, the standards are about there. It's not that hard to look impressive in comparison to other natural athletes because most people who compete are not natural. And so when you compete as a natural athlete and you're, say, 7 or 8% body fat, it's very impressive. And even if you're only, say, 149 pounds, that's a lot of muscle. And so when I competed at the drug-tested Canadian National Championships and won 149 pounds, perhaps 7% body fat, but looked amazing. People are like, wow, how did you do it? How did he win nationals with his manlet, puny, pipsqueak body? Once I took PDs, put on a ton of muscle, but the standards, they're up here. I'm competing in the overall title against Antoine Brown. He's 250 pounds of muscle. And so to win that competition, I had to put on a ton of muscle and compete closer to 5%. Then once you're a pro, everyone's shredded. Everyone's a monster. And so you have to diet even harder than last time. And also, in comparison to that first cycle, the one after that, they keep continuing to need to get bigger. Why? Because you're trying to improve. And so what might start off as a smaller cycle, look at James English's cycle. Not that massive, 500 milligrams of test, 150 tren, some anavar, couple things here and there. Not that much. But if he wants to compete and win as a pro, he has to put on close to 20 pounds of muscle. How do you think he's going to do that? You think he's going to do that with very small cycles? Of course not. And so what happens is you continue to rise up. And when you're an amateur, you compare yourself to other amateurs, you look amazing. But James English as an IFBB pro, compare yourself to Chris Bumstead? Imagine the pressure to look better than last time.
I would look better than everyone on gear if I was on gear.
Well, he would look that much better and that much leaner, but trust me, if you actually went on PDs and you put on, say, 20 pounds of muscle, there would still be that many other people to compare yourself to. Right now, you're comparing yourself to other natural lifters. Perhaps Jeff Nippard, maybe Alex Eubank, these kind of guys. But if you went on cycles and you put on all that muscle, guess who we'd be comparing yourself to? We'd be comparing yourself to Chris Bumstead. And so if you think you look amazing now, Imagine having to be compared to Chris Bumstead every single day. Oh, Jesse looks pretty good, but wow, I saw him next to Chris Bumstead. Looks like a little baby. And so unless he put on 50 plus pounds of muscle, he would in fact look tiny next to Chris Bumstead.
I know.
People think I'm on gear, and I'm not. Therefore, if I went on gear, I don't know. I'm gonna be the next.
They always try to say like, oh.
This conversation is hilarious. And so, yeah, I do 100% believe that Jesse James is natural, but I also know that if he were to be enhanced, I don't think he would get as many gains as he thinks. I have no doubt he could put on 15 or 20 pounds of muscle, but I don't think it would just continue on. Not everyone who takes PDs magically becomes the Hulk.
The mental side of it, the side effects, not sleeping, anger, depression. If you don't do it perfectly, you're really messing with your head, and there's a risk to it. Hence why I'll never touch it.
And so Jesse brings up a good point. When you're on PDs, the mental changes, they can be there. However, even when I was natural, I couldn't sleep, I felt like garbage, I had all those side effects. You have mood swings, you're hangry. As a natural athlete, sleeping 3 hours a day with crushed testosterone because I'm starving myself to win a natural bodybuilding competition, it's not easy. But when you're enhanced, you get all those same factors, except you're pushing yourself that much more. You're like, wow, I have all this stuff coursing through my veins. I'm gonna push even more. I'm gonna train that much more. I'm gonna starve myself even harder to get down to 4%. I was natural 6.5. That ain't no good. I want 4 now. And so no matter what you do, you will suffer, and you decide just how much you're going to push your body till the end.
Your test is probably,
Shit.
low as shit.
Yo, my test is low as shit.
Don't get it tested and post it on the internet, okay?
And so Jesse knows this is what it takes to do a competition, but he has no plans to maintain this single-digit body fat once the show is over. Following the show, he's going to go in a calorie surplus. He's going to add body fat, get to a healthy body fat percent. Perhaps for Jesse, it's 12%. And then from there, he can gain and slowly add on muscle. That is how you do it in the real world.
One day, if we ever go on gear, we'll make a true comparison of what's better. Because we've been shredded natty. A lot of people hop on gear early, and then they're getting big, and then they're getting shredded.
No need, Jesse. I've already done it, already made hundreds of videos talking about it, the difference between natural and enhanced, what it was like when I was younger versus now, all the changes. And so I did it, so you don't have to.
I ate 4,000 calories today, and I'm still digesting it right here.
And so you might get into the fitness world, you're very confident with your body, you like how you look, you start training, you start making the gains, you start being more aesthetic, but then suddenly, it's not enough. You start comparing you to the best, the Gymshark models, the YouTube stars, Instagram models, IB pros such as Chris Bumstead, and so it's never enough. My advice, compare yourself to yourself and be happy with what you have. And we're seeing Jesse James West training with Alex Eubank, and Jesse, yes, he is leaner, but he's competing in 2 weeks. And in comparison, Alex is not that far off. He only looks a few weeks of dieting away from being as lean as Jesse. And so Alex, he's not overweight in the slightest. He still looks incredible. Personally, I don't even think he needs to be dieting. He's competing in 13 weeks. To me, he looks closer than being 13 weeks out. He could, in fact, hold off a few more weeks before he even has to be in a slow cut to get ready for competition.
What do you think?
You're pretty shredded, dude.
What percent do you think I am?
Bro, like, people might hate me for saying this, but like, I'd say you're people, I'm gonna say, I told you 7, I'm gonna say like 7 to 8.
And so at 2 weeks out of this video, Jesse James, I do believe, is slightly under 8% body fat. He has amazing abdominals. Jesse says, yeah, my abs look like they're 6%, but he does carry some fat elsewhere. And one of the reasons for his incredible abdominal development is the fact that his obliques are so well defined. And he says, I used to play lacrosse and I used to throw like this. I used to say the same thing. I was a swimmer. And so all the time crunching left to right, playing baseball, a lot of sports. And so you're constantly developing the abdominals. But if you have horrible genetics, you don't have the proper ab insertions, they just don't look amazing, you could do sit-up after sit-up, you could get shredded, and you still won't have abs in the way that Jesse James does.
Thanks, bro.
I'll probably do this on stage.
Yeah, it's a good shot for you.
And so you can see Alex looks incredible, Jesse looks incredible. Alex actually has a wider chest cavity, better vacuum pose. Jesse James has better abs and obliques than Alex. And so if they were both to pose, I would suggest Alex Eubank to do a Chris Bumstead style vacuum pose while Jesse James West crunches down, clearly displaying the abdominals.
My free test was 20 nanograms below normal. And they were like, you need to go on Clomid. Same shit you heard.
Yeah, bro.
And I was like...
And so should they just listen to doctors and go on Clomid? Or is it not better to improve your testosterone naturally? I've made countless videos describing how to boost your testosterone levels, some of which include getting enough sleep, staying at a healthy body fat percentage, getting enough macro and micronutrients. And if that doesn't work, at least consider a natural test booster first. 3 tests. These are not the test boosters of the past. These supplements have been shown to boost testosterone levels by a couple hundred points. And so if you have low testosterone levels and you can boost them naturally by a couple hundred points by taking over-the-counter natural supplements, is that not worth it? Should you not at least give that a try first? And so yeah, I get it. You're gonna give me a lot of hate. Oh, you're promoting a test booster. Is that not better than the doctor promoting Clomid for a guy in his early 20s who has lower testosterone levels from crash dieting? He's clearly crash dieting 12 to 1,500 calories a day.
The last thing your body wants to do is reproduce. So you're literally just like shutting down your body. Like I even said it in this video, I was like, I just want to feel normal. I feel so dead, so tired.
When he was consuming a proper calorie intake, it felt good. A lot of energy, proper sleep, proper libido. But once you take the calories away, once you diet too severely, it takes over your life. You don't feel good, you can get hangry, you can be in a bad mood, it zaps your energy. Le joie de vie, it's just gone, you don't feel good. And so my suggestion, do not enter a bodybuilding competition unless you absolutely want to do it. Remember, this is going to happen to you. If you diet to this extent, you will suffer. It is a challenge you willingly take on because you want to see how far you can push yourself. But once the competition is over, please go in a calorie surplus, gain back the weight, become healthy yet again, and don't become body obsessed. Don't develop body dysmorphia.
Jesse, natty or not? Why you say that? After we finished filming, Joey was like, yo, he is not natty.
So they asked the guy, he's like, is Jesse natural? He's like, no way. And Alex like, well, me personally, I'm probably at 12% body fat. Jesse, under 8%. And when you're in a gym, pumped up, veins popping, you look incredible. But if you actually compare Jesse to someone who's actually enhanced, who has the size and the condition, for example, James English, Jesse James versus James English, night and day difference. And so I do 100% believe that there are many natural athletes out there who can achieve a physique as good as Jesse while being natural.
He is making me want to get shredded and hop on stage. So I'm about to get diced. I don't know what I got to do, but I'm gonna do it. He said he's on like 1,500 calories, 50 minutes of cardio a day. That's got to be hell though.
That is insane. I can remember going way back to when I was Jesse's age, even as a teenager competing. I've never dieted under 2,000 calories a day in my life. And I was significantly smaller than Jesse when I started dieting. Remember, I was competing in the 140s. And so my advice to Jesse was to up the calories a bit. I believe he was eating around 2,300 a day after that 7,000 calorie cheat. Best of luck to Jesse in his competition this weekend. Hopefully Alex makes it to the stage. We will see one day, perhaps Alex versus Jesse. Who will come out on top? Hope you enjoyed the video. Ending it here. Remember, harder than last time supplements. Get those. Click the link in the description. The Circle diet book, training book, cookbooks, coaching plans by me and my team. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Also on Instagram, Greg Doucette IPV Pro. And until next time, I am out.